Joining me now is Heath Mayo. He's an attorney and longtime Republican activist who has created a competing Republican conference to CPAC called the Principles First Summit. Thanks very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. You know, when I first read about this, I immediately thought of you, and I thought of, wow, it seems like CPAC is increasingly providing a huge opportunity for a competing event.
That's right. I mean, they continue to go further and further and further, just into absurdity, really. I mean, it's one thing to host people here in America that are saying ridiculous things, but now that's not enough for them. They're having to go to Hungary, to sort of the belly of
Why are they doing it?
I mean, it's this need to get clicks, to be the talk of the day, to spark outrage among the left, even among the center. I mean, it's a large swath of America now that looks at this and asks themselves, what are they doing? I mean, this was a place where Reagan used to speak. I mean, conservative ideals are about freedom of speech, freedom of religion. Orban in Hungary stand against all of that. I mean, it's not even about America first geographically. It's America ideas that they are now rejecting.
Now, you used to attend CPAC, right?
I did, yeah.
Regularly?
Regularly. I was a regular attendee in college back when it was still a place where you could, you know, talk about normal things.
When did it change?
I mean, it was in the last 5 to 6 years, really, a little bit before Trump, honestly. It wasn't all Trump. I mean, this was part and parcel of what I think is conservative ink. It was using conservatism and the ideas and politics to make money, to drive outrage and you know, dollars for the conference organizers. And that, you know, they follow the dollars, they follow the profit, they follow the outrage, and so now you see them in Hungary palling around with these guys.
And to be clear, at your event, you are espousing conservative principles, meaning I presume that I haven't been to one, but I presume that you like a lot of the judges that President Trump has nominated. I would presume that you like a lot of the policy issues that are existing on the right, correct?
That's right. I mean, some of them. I mean, I think what you're seeing with CPAC is this reality that actually the ideas and the policies of the Republican Party have changed quite a bit. It's not about liberty. It's not about freedom. It's not about limited government or the 10th Amendment, federalism. It's about power. It's about owning your political opponents, using the state to go after Disney because you disagree with what they think about the legislation that you passed. It's about going after your enemies and using the state, and that is antithetical to what limited government conservatism is properly understood.
So what do you guys talk about? And so what are the principles? And I was going to say, what are the principles that you guys focus on at your conference that make it different from CPAC?
Well, first of all, character and integrity matter, that our leaders need to, first of all, be sort of good, upstanding individuals that don't lie. They tell the truth. Truth matters. You know, the legislative branch passes the laws. The president executes the laws, and the judiciary, you know, interprets them. Separation of powers, balance of powers, those are all important. 10th Amendment, the federal government doesn't have to do everything. The states have a role to play, and none of that is talked about anymore. Balanced budgets, freedom of religion, freedom of expression. You won't hear that at CPAC. You go to CPAC and listen, and they don't talk about any of that stuff.
You're still a Republican.
I am a conservative first, a principled conservative first, and I vote based on the ideas and principles that folks say. I am increasingly hard-pressed to, you know, adopt the Republican label in energetic happiness because of what they have done to the party.
Well,
it's
look,
just not the same.
I think the key is transparency. I've always said this. I think that the critical point is for people to just say, look, here's where I'm coming from, can let people decide if they agree or disagree with you on a particular issue. Heath Mayo, thanks very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. Coming up, Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.